There's a woman in Ohio who retired at 41, not from a tech startup, not from crypto. She was a dental hygienist. Her coworkers still work there today, 12 years later, wondering how she did it. And she's never once told them the real answer, because the real answer sounds too boring to believe. It wasn't a windfall. It wasn't a secret stock tip. It was 10 decisions made quietly over almost 2 decades that nobody around her ever noticed until it was already done. And there's one decision in the middle of her story, the one that almost cost her everything before it made her free, that I'm going to get to. Not yet. First, I need you to understand why most people never even get close to what she built, even the ones who earn twice her salary. Because here's the uncomfortable truth about wealth in America right now. It has almost nothing to do with income. You already know someone who makes six figures and feels broke every single month. You probably know someone who makes half that and somehow always seems calm about money. That gap isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's 10 quiet decisions, and by the end of this video, you'll be able to spot exactly which ones you're missing, including one that might make you slightly uncomfortable because you'll realize you've been avoiding it on purpose. Let's start with the first decision, because everything else builds on top of it. The quietly wealthy buy freedom before they buy status. Most people do the opposite without even noticing. The moment income goes up, spending quietly rises to meet it. A nicer apartment, a nicer dinner rotation, a slightly better version of everything. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation, and it's brutally efficient. You adjust to more, and within months, more just feels normal. And you need even more to feel anything at all. The dental hygienist I mentioned understood this early. When she got raises, she didn't upgrade her lifestyle. She upgraded her ownership. Small amounts redirected constantly toward things that would eventually pay her instead of things that just made her look paid. That single habit, repeated for 18 years, is basically the entire story. Everything else on this list is just a variation of that same decision. The second one is about attention, not money, and it's easy to miss. Wealthy-minded people quietly guard what they let into their head every single morning. There's research on this from behavioral economists studying decision fatigue. The first 90 minutes of your day disproportionately shape the choices you make for the other 15 hours. Most people wake up and immediately hand that window to a feed algorithm built to hijack their attention, not build their future. The people who quietly get ahead protect that window like it's worth money. Because it is. Not in some abstract self-help way. Literally. The decisions you make with a calm, undistracted mind at 7 in the morning are statistically better than the ones made scrolling at midnight, half asleep, emotionally reactive. Guard the input, and the output changes on its own. Now here's the third decision, and this one quietly separates people faster than almost anything else. They treat their income as raw material, not as a finish line. A teacher I know, mid-30s, married, 2 kids, makes a completely ordinary salary. Nothing special on paper. But every single month before anything else touches her paycheck, a fixed percentage moves somewhere she can't easily see it. Not because she's disciplined in some superhuman way. Because she removed the decision entirely. The money is simply gone before temptation gets a vote. This is the difference between income and wealth that almost nobody explains clearly. Income is what arrives. Wealth is what survives contact with your life. And the people who protect that survival rate, even on modest paychecks, end up further ahead than people earning triple what they do. Sit with that for a second because I want to ask you something before we go further. If you had to guess right now, honestly, what percentage of your income actually survives the month untouched? Comment that number below. Just roughly, no judgment. I'll tell you why that number matters more than your salary in a minute, but first, there's a turn coming in this story that changes how you'll see everything after it. Decision 4 is about ownership, and it's where the real separation happens. Comfortable people trade hours for dollars indefinitely. The quietly wealthy start owning something, even something tiny, that produces money without their direct hand on it every single day. It doesn't require a fortune to start. It requires patience most people don't have because the early returns are almost invisible. a small stake in a friend's growing business, a skill turned into a digital product that sells while you sleep, a single extra room rented out. None of these feel dramatic in year one. That's exactly the point. Nassim Taleb wrote about this kind of quiet asymmetry, the small, boring bets that cost you almost nothing if they fail, but compound enormously if they don't, stacked one on top of another until the math simply tips in your favor. Most people want the version where the tree is already grown. Almost nobody wants to be the person watering it for years with nothing visible happening above the soil, which leads directly into decision 5. And this is where it gets personal because it's not about money at all. It's about identity. The quietly wealthy stop performing wealth long before they actually have much of it. This is the hardest one because performing feels like proof. Proof to the people who doubted you, proof to yourself at 3 in the morning when doubt creeps back in anyway. But every dollar spent proving you've made it is a dollar pulled out of the machine that would have actually made it true. That's the trap nobody warns you about. It's not that high earners are bad at math, it's that they're addicted to being witnessed, and witnessing is expensive. The people who quietly win learn to enjoy progress that nobody claps for. That's a skill. Almost nobody trains it on purpose. Here's decision 6, and I promise this is the last uncomfortable one for a while. They protect the downside before they chase the upside. Insurance, emergency funds, updated beneficiaries. None of it photographs well. None of it belongs on a highlight reel. But here's a number worth knowing. A huge share of American households are one lawsuit, one diagnosis, one bad year away from losing everything they spent a decade building, and most of them never even checked, because checking felt like inviting bad luck in. The quietly wealthy do the opposite. They look directly at the worst-case scenario, price it, and neutralize it early, precisely so they never have to think about it again. That's not pessimism. That's what actually buys you the freedom to be optimistic about everything else. Decision 7 flips something most people believe without ever questioning it. Debt itself isn't the villain, misused debt is. Borrowed money pointed at something that appreciates or produces income is a lever. Borrowed money pointed at a lifestyle is a leash. Same word, opposite outcomes depending entirely on direction. The quietly wealthy learn to ask one question before borrowing anything. Will this thing pay me back, or will I be the one paying forever? Everyone else just absorbs the blanket rule, debt is bad, which sounds responsible but quietly keeps them from ever using leverage the way it was actually meant to be used, while the people around them, using it correctly, pull steadily ahead. Decision 8 is smaller but compounds harder than it should, and it's this. They remove willpower from the equation entirely. Discipline is finite. It gets tired. It loses to a rough day, a good sale, a moment of emotional spending nobody plans for. So instead of relying on motivation, the quietly wealthy build systems that don't require feeling anything at all. Transfers happen automatically. Bills get paid before they're noticed. The money that matters most is often gone before the version of them capable of spending it impulsively even wakes up. That's not superhuman restraint. That's just good architecture, and architecture wins against willpower in basically every study on habit formation ever run. If you've made it this far, you're clearly not here for empty motivation content. So go ahead and subscribe now. Decision 9 is the one people resist hardest. And it's this. They invest in their own skill before they invest in anything external. Before index funds, before real estate, before whatever's trending on your feed this week. The highest return most people will ever earn in their 20s and 30s doesn't come from a portfolio. It comes from becoming genuinely excellent at something specific enough that opportunity starts finding them instead of the other way around. There's a shopkeeper near where I grew up who never had capital to invest in anything flashy. What he had was 20 years of quietly getting better at understanding exactly what his customers needed before they said it out loud. That skill became the asset. Every dollar that came after was just downstream of that one decision, repeated daily for 2 decades. And now, finally, decision 10, the quietest one of all, which is exactly why it matters the most. They measure their life in decades, not months. Every decision on this list looks unremarkable in isolation. Redirecting a small percentage of income looks like nothing in month one. Guarding your morning attention looks like nothing on any single day. Choosing not to perform wealth looks, honestly, kind of invisible. But stack these unremarkable choices across 10 years, 15 years, 20, and you get the dental hygienist retiring at 41 while her coworkers are still clocking in, quietly wondering what they missed. And here's the turn, the one I promised you at the beginning. None of these 10 decisions were ever really about money. They were about who you're willing to become when there's no one around to witness it. Wealth isn't the reward for being the smartest person in the room. It's the reward for staying consistent in a room nobody's watching. For years, while everyone else is optimizing for applause they'll forget by next week. The people who look rich are usually performing a scene for an audience. The people who are actually rich are usually somewhere quiet and unremarkable, still doing the boring thing they started years ago that nobody ever gave them credit for. So here's what I actually want you to walk away with, more than any single number or tactic. Somewhere in the last few minutes, one of these 10 decisions made you a little uncomfortable. Maybe it was the attention one. Maybe it was the performing wealth one. That discomfort wasn't random. That's the one you already know you've been avoiding. This video didn't tell you anything new there. It just finally said it out loud. Money has never cared how hard you worked or how talented you are. It only responds to quiet decisions repeated consistently by someone who stopped needing anyone else to notice. That's the entire secret. There was never a bigger one hiding underneath it, and there never will be. If this video added value to your day, share it with your loved ones who need this and subscribe for more insights. I'll see you in the next one.